Hello. We're gonna hopefully do this in one take. So my name is Rosie. Welcome to Rose Tinted Diamonds. Today I am going to attempt a whip and chat. My editing software is not working at the moment, so I am going to do my best to get this in one shot, I guess. One, like, without having to like cut anything. So hopefully I don't say anything stupid, but so first things first, I'm working on Magic Arcades by, oh my gosh, I was like, there's just like a random, sorry, by Miss Holly and Diamond Art Club. This is my Drills and Chills submission. Absolutely adorable. I'm like looking through the little viewfinder and you can see the bunny and then like a little snake or like lizard or something, and then this little puppy, and I'm just dying. Like, we're at the point where we're doing a part where like the cuteness is starting to really pop in here. Butterfly Effect wears pen. Putty is from my, oh god, I'm gonna send things just, yep, flying. Wee Wax Crafts. This is apple cinnamon wee putty. That's my favorite. And then in my single placer, we are using this guy here, which is my super sticky patty wax from Distracted by Diamonds, or Patty Wax. Yeah, same company. So I have been like Mia for the last, I want to say like 2 to 2.5 to like 3 weeks. So first of all, I apologize. Things got crazy. Absolutely crazy. And the only thing that, like, we'll start at the beginning, which is about 3 weeks ago. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. My husband looked at me because I've been begging him for a dog, right, for like a year. And like, we talked about it in like April, and he was like, well, maybe next year kind of thing. And eventually, because he's been super busy, he went back to school. And if I don't get a whole lot of diamond painting done, I'm so sorry. I'm way more into like just kind of getting stuff out right now and kind of explaining myself on exactly what happened in my life the last like few weeks. But so he's been incredibly busy. He works full time, and then he's starting to go back to school, which is all super cool. Except for it kind of leaves me in a spot where I'm like kind of lonely because I'm used to having him around and like to talk to, and the amount of time that I have to talk to him, like the ratio of talk time to not talk time is very low right now. It is skewed further into the like, there's not really a whole lot of time to like talk to him, and he's my best friend. So it's been a big struggle, and it's gonna be a struggle for the next like 2 years because he's going from an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree, and we'll see kind of like how all of that ends up. It's a lot of craziness. So he went, okay, Rosie, you've been looking at dogs, you know, because I just kind of casually look on like Facebook because I'm a part of some of the groups for like the Humane Society, like different rescues and different things like that, because I have been a part of rescuing, you know, when I was younger, and like that's just what I've always done. So he was like, okay, you know, go ahead and, you know, find one to like go and look at. When my husband tells me something like that, you have a very limited amount of time to actually make things happen before he kind of retracts his statement. So I immediately was like, all right, let's go see, you know, like this dog here. Her name was Lucky. And I was like, oh, she's like a cattle dog, right? And she seems really nice. I want a dog for walking. I go walking almost every single day. Several miles. Like today I went on a 3.5 mile walk. And that was just, like, I stopped and, like, took pictures of birds and stuff. Like, I was out for, like, 3 hours, or 2 hours? Like, 2.5 hours or something like that. So, with that being said, I was like, okay, I need, like, an active breed, right? So we go, and he's like, I was like, okay, maybe I should go look at it with my mom. And he goes, well, let's just take my kiddo. And my kiddo, as anyone who has been here knows, he's spicy. So of course I was like, oh no, okay. I don't know if this is gonna go over well. I don't know if he's gonna hate it or what. Like, we've had problems with him and dogs in the past, with the fact that, you know, my border collie, when I had him, was showing some pretty deep signs of, like, not liking my kid. And so I had to give him to my husband's grandparents, who lived on the farm that we were living in previously before we moved to where we are now. So because we moved over here to get my kid help. And then, so we brought the dog with us, and it wasn't working. Anytime my kid would interact with the dog would, like, growl, and he never bit him or anything, or even, like, truly shown signs of biting, but I didn't want to risk it with a kiddo that wouldn't be able to tell me if something was wrong, right? Because he was, like, 3 when I had to give him up, I think. I think it was like 3 when I had to give the dog up. And so that didn't work. And I've had some bad luck in the past with dogs. Not my livestock guardian dogs that I bred and trained for the longest time on the farm, but Pippin, my border collie, was like one of my best boys. He was such a good boy. He just didn't get along with my kiddo. And I think it had something to do with, you know, like, his special needs, because my dog was good with everybody else. So I'm thinking that there was probably, something was off, and it wasn't a good fit. Well, with this one, she loved him. We went to meet the dog, and she absolutely loved him, and it was great. I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. Well, as I was signing papers, because where we are, I know I've had people question kind of like, oh wow, that happened really fast. And the answer is yes. If you go to a humane society in America, and I'm not saying it's that way in everywhere in America, but generally in America, they're quick. They're like on top of it, like, get the dog out the door as soon as you can, kind of thing, because they don't have the means to keep all of the amount of animals that they, you know, need to. So, like, it's hard out there. There's a lot of stray animals in America, especially where I'm at. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and take her home, you know. And all of a sudden at the end, I think it was after I paid even. I paid for the dog, and then they went, oh, we have one last, like, paper for you to sign. And I was like, okay, like, what are we doing? And they were like, yeah, so this is just a formality, like, don't think anything of it, kind of thing. And they went, but she bites, we noticed that she bites at the lead, you know, when you take her on walks and stuff, and she kind of gets a little mouthy with her handlers. And I've owned dogs before. Mouthy could mean so many things, but to me, mouthy is just, oh, you know, like, na 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 na, you know, and then, like, just soft, like, no, like, hard biting or whatever. It's just kind of like they like to put their mouth on you. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, I can handle that, right? Right? Well, it turns out, no. That was not the case. they straight up lied. Because I got this dog out and I was like, okay, we're gonna go outside, go take her to go potty. I was like, okay, let's do it. Walked outside. My yard is like this, right? I'm standing like here. Dog is standing over here by our like fence line. We are fully fenced in backyard. Dog runs from here all the way to me, runs, grabs my arm. And at that point I'm like, okay, stay calm. It's gonna be okay. Like, she's not biting down to the point of drawing blood, but she was biting enough to bruise. I had bruises all up my arms from like my elbow to here. I had bruises on the back of my hand. If she would grab onto my arm, I would remove that. I attempted to divert with toys. I attempted to divert with, checking, like treats or whatever. Like, I tried it all. There was one point where I was watching like some videos because I was like, I don't know what to do at this point. Like, it had been, I think, 3 days, and I was like, what do I do? And, you're supposed to grab them by like the collar and just like make it so they can't bite you. And then once they stop like attempting to bite you, you like release them. And then if they try again, you grab them up by the collar, and then you just wait. Like, you're not tugging on them, you're not doing anything like that. You're just waiting for them to calm down. Like, hey, it's okay, calm down, whatever. That did not do it. If you told her no, if you told her leave it, she would go harder. Like, I know what playing is, and the worst part of the whole thing, like, I'm not saying the dog was bad. I'm not saying like, oh my god, yada yada, anything about the dog. My biggest problem was I had to play goalie for my kid. If my kid, like, if she was trying to bite down on my kid, he didn't know how to react to that. So I had to like be in vigilance the entire time. And like, if I told her no, or like pulled her away, she then went after me. And then the other trigger that she had was my cat. My cat was not happy with her being in his face. And even though the dog wasn't super bad about it, she'd come bite me if the cat like was like no, like, and would like bat at her because he's like, get out of my space. Like, this is not acceptable. And so, 4 or 5 days later, I called the Humane Society, and I was like, hey, this is not working. And they're like, well, will you work with us? And I was like, what does that mean? They're like, well, we could teach you how to deal with like the biting. It's just playing. And I was like, first of all, it's not just playing. Like, let's not pretend like that's the case. Let's not pretend like, oh, this is just playing, like, you're being ridiculous. Like, no. Once again, I know the difference between playing and trying to bite people because you think you can. And again, I was like, hey, this is not gonna work. I told you guys I have a special needs kiddo. Like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot do this. And they're like, well, man, if you're not gonna like work with us, then like, I guess you can bring her back. And I was like, well, yeah, I have to. So like, is there anything that we can do to like find a dog that's maybe better fitting for our family? Like, I feel like the cat is a trigger, and I feel like, this is not going well for us, and I'd like to, rescue an animal. I can't afford to pay $450 every time to see if said animal is going to work for us. And they were like, yeah, we don't do refunds. And I was like, okay. All right, thanks. My husband's never gonna let me have a dog again. This is terrible. Oh my God. And yeah, we're back to Rosie is not allowed to have a dog because the situation sucks. There really wasn't a whole lot of help with the dog either. So I was playing 24/7 goalie. He didn't let the dog out. Nothing. Like, he wanted literally nothing to actually do with the dog. Which is hard, and that made it even harder. So if it was a dog that was at least manageable and I was able to like take a deep breath and not have to like police the dog 24/7 for biting my kid and like trying to terrorize my cat, it would have been a little bit easier, and I think it would have been fine. Did I just do this one or this one? I think it was that one. Okay. Anchor. But so yeah, needless to say, that was a struggle, and I had like no time for diamond painting at that point, no time to make any videos whatsoever. Like, it was all bad. It was all bad. There was no real. I will say she was amazing at walking. We took her on walks in the morning, and I took her on walks in the evening. And I'm talking like 2-hour walks, right? Like 1.5 to 2 hour walks. Nighttime was shorter. Nighttime was like a half hour to 45 minutes. But early in the morning, my son and I took her out for 1.5 hour long walks every single day. So, that was really fun, and that was a nice thing to kind of like get into. And so, yeah, like that ended up being like super, super nice, super fun. Exactly what I was looking for. It's just, if I can't trust the dog to exist in my house, like it just is not gonna work. Like, I get it, animals are unpredictable, like to a certain degree, but like this was a lot. This was more than like your normal amount of wild. So yeah, that was like a whole week's worth of like not whatever. And then took her back, and that weekend I had to go school shopping because our school started up like week before last. And so doing all the things that I needed to get done, came home, or no, I got a phone call from my husband, and he was like, so did you spill something like in front of our TV stand? And I was like, no. What do you mean? And he's like, well, it's like really wet in front of our TV stand. I'm like, that's weird. I will check it out when I get home. So got home, checked it out, was like, that's really weird. So I checked around the entertainment center, and it was wet all the way to the edge of the carpet, like along the wall. And I was like, oh, that's not good. I said, do you think maybe there's like a water leak or something like underneath the house that's like shooting upwards maybe, and creating like that like spot of wetness? Well, it turns out that I was partially right, that there was a leak and it was shooting from a different direction, but it was the refrigerator, the hose that comes up from the floor into the refrigerator that gives you like water for the ice machine and the water button that we like never use. So that's kept off now because it cracked somehow. And it got water all, like, it went underneath our like half wall in the kitchen and straight up into like the flooring in the front room. They are still working on it at the moment. Like the worst time. So then I was like, okay, well, my kiddo was starting to get sick, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna have him chilling in this damp house while the people came and like, you know, put big old wind turbines and stuff in here to to start drying things, they like sent the emergency like water people out. And yeah, so I went to my mom's house and I was like, okay, well, we'll stay with my mom for a bit. That was miserable because, you know, like I didn't have my computer to like do anything. I didn't have my like normal diamond painting set up. I was sitting at her dining room table. No, I go to therapy, like physical therapy, for my shoulders, and that, ow, that just exacerbated the whole issue, and I'm still paying for it. I almost want to like up the amount of times, like going from 1 time a week to like 2 times a week, because I get to the point where I am in so much pain. It's like radiating like through my body. It is not good. So we're working through that in physical therapy. My floors are still ripped up. The drying finally got done. Like they ripped out all of the bad material that was all like super soaked and everything. And it is now, we're just waiting for the insurance company to contact the restoration people so that the restoration people can come in and replace all my stuff. Like my, they ripped out a bunch of cabinets. They ripped out the flooring along with the like subflooring apparently was like swelling under the amount of water that got under there. They ripped out a whole bunch of fiberglass from underneath the house. They ripped up my carpet and stuff like that. So we're still living in a house with things that are just completely ripped apart, and like there's a draft from underneath the house, and like it's great. So, and then my YouTube Create stopped working, and my life is chaos. When I say that like my life is chaos, like I mean it. I very, very much like truly mean the fact that, yeah, I don't understand why it is quite so chaotic. And I understand that some of it is my choices. Like the dog thing. The dog thing was my deal. It was dumb. Like I want a dog companion. I'm sorry. Which I guess it's a good thing I sent her back, because I was living at my mom's house for, you know, over a week, and then yeah, like living in a house full of that's just like torn apart, I guess is what I was trying to say. Sorry, brain stopped working. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It is my birthday in, what day is it? The 8th? 11 days. And I'm just vibing and trying to survive right now. Like, I was like, of all the things to happen, like right now, like this is it. This is the thing that sent me over the edge. But we're making life work. My mom and I are going on like nature walks and stuff, and we're taking pictures of birds and, you know, doing different things, and it's been really enjoyable, you know, taking the time to like kind of like stop and quote unquote stop and smell the roses. Like, it's been very nice. I'm thinking about getting a camera at some point so that I can take better pictures, because obviously birds are like elusive and you can't really get like super close to them. And I never thought I would be a quote unquote like bird watcher. I was like, am I really like contemplating getting a camera for taking pictures of birds? And the answer is yes. Today I hung out and like chilled and took pictures of a great blue heron, and it was actually really fun. If I can figure out my editing program, I will edit a picture of the great blue heron into the thing. But yeah, it's another hobby that I am apparently getting into. I think that was a motorcycle. That's the weirdest sound a motorcycle can make. But okay. So yeah. Just trying to live right now. I don't even know how long that's like I've been going for. Let me check actually, because I'm like, I don't know. How long do I have to talk for? I have been going for 25 minutes. I honestly expected this to go like a lot longer, so this may be a shorter whip and chat than I expected originally. Because I expected this to go over an hour. But I guess the whole dog situation, I was able to kind of like get through that more or less. Oh, I forgot about the dog situation. Oh, so the reason that I was so angry about the whole situation was because the lady that I was talking to, right? Like, they insisted that, like, no, like, this is just playful behavior. And I was like, okay, I have bruises. Like, we're at the point where I am literally littered in bruises. I could not touch the back of my hand without, like, wanting to cry. I had that many bruises, and it was, like, bone deep, and it hurt so bad. Because if you would get her off of one appendage, she would then go for, like, your calf or your hand. My watch was apparently, like, super interesting to her, and like she chomped down on my watch multiple times and just wouldn't let go. And so when I brought her in, I was like, yeah, you know, like it's just too much, like I can't do it. And I was like in tears because I wanted this to work. Like, it's not like I was like, oh yeah, you know, like this is no big deal. Like, no, I tried really hard to get things to like work the way I needed it to, and they straight up like wouldn't even talk to me. They were like, no. Then the gal who did the checkup of like, oh yeah, you know, like how did this all go? I was like, do you need me to like write a letter for her, you know, to like at least explain the situation and like what I think that she needs going forward? Like, she needs someone who can get her into a trainer like immediately so that they can figure this whole biting thing out, because it's not cute, playful, whatever. It's actually going to be a problem if someone takes her home and she ends up biting the wrong person, right? Like, I'm trying to look out for the dog here on this one and just explain nicely like what the dog probably needs after having her for almost a week. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna do a survey. And I was like, well, like the questions that they ask are very like, well, as long as the dog hasn't bitten anybody in the last, and I was like, but she did. Yeah, but it's just playing. And I was like, all right, you guys, I understand you don't want to label a dog as a biter, right? Because that's all bad. But you also need to take it seriously that she needs some help in that area so that this isn't a problem going forward. You can't just tell people like, oh yeah, she's just a little mouthy, when you've got an 8-year-old child or younger, or, you know, special needs or any of those things, like, or an older person, you know, like they wouldn't fully understand like exactly what you're saying to them on like how things should be, or how, oh yeah, it's just biting, I know it hurt, but like, who cares? What? And she looks at me and she goes, have you ever owned a herding breed before? And I was like, oh honey. I was like, yes, of course I've owned a herding breed before. I said, like, I did herding classes with my border collie. We've had Australian Shepherds. We've had a Corgi. We've had, like, this is not a herding breed, but, like, I raised and bred LGDs, like livestock guardian dogs, Maremas specifically. Gorgeous breed, by the way. And probably one of my favorites. But, like, yes, I am dog savvy. Like, We're not going to sit and pretend like this was just me not knowing what I'm doing. Yes, I've dealt with all of that. My, stepdad has owned blue heelers and stuff. Like, and she was a red heeler, Lucky was. But like, yeah, like I've owned these animals and been like raised around these animals forever. One of my best friends had a Rottweiler. I grew up with a half coyote, half Alaskan husky. Like, we had her for 15 years, 16 years. We rescued a Rottweiler, or not a Rottweiler, German Shepherd as a kid, and her name was Mindy, and like, what? Like, I've been around dogs before. It just floored me, because I grew up on a farm, and then my husband and I, worked on a farm, like a sheep farm, and like, yes. And they just kind of rolled their eyes at me, and I almost lost it. Because I was just like, how rude. Like, they've completely ostracized me. I was going to volunteer at that particular Humane Society. Once again, it's a Humane Society. I was going to volunteer, different things like that, and like they ostracized me enough that I don't honestly want anything to do with them. And the way that they handled the adoption process was really, for lack of better words, janky. Like, they weren't matching the dog to the person. They didn't give two poops, the lifestyle of the person that they were, like trying to match a dog for. They just literally wanted that dog in particular out of the Humane Society. They took $100 off, and I was like, that's really nice of them. Like, that's super cool. Now I realize that there's a potential that the reason that they did that is because they knew that she had problems, and were just kind of hoping that I would figure it out. And I just don't have the bandwidth at this point to just figure it out. Because again, like, kid was, no. It's just too much. It's way too much. And again, I love dogs. Probably gonna end up with like a golden retriever or something that isn't going to absolutely break my mental. But I tried. I wanted to rescue. I did. I cannot imagine treating people like that who are attempting to, have a lifelong companion. And again, like, I'm not going back to that Humane Society to adopt. It just, even if they have like the perfect pet for me, I'm not going back because they treated me like I was stupid. And you can't do that. Like, I understand for the pets, everything like that. I absolutely am that way. I am here. Again, I just want her to get the help that she needed more than anything. Because it's very clear to me, at least, after having her for a week, that she needed help in certain areas, and I just didn't have everything that she needed. And I made that realization, and that's the reason I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring her back, and try for something different, because this is not it, and it's gonna be okay. But instead, they were like, yeah, no, we're pocketing your money even though you've only had the dog for 4 days. Okay. I wouldn't even have minded if they were like, yeah, we'll have to take like half of it, but you can use half of it like to try another animal or something. Like, at least work with me on that. because again, I have a little bit of money, but like it wasn't, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And again, my biggest issue is that they didn't talk about the problem like it was a problem. They just kind of like, oh yeah, this is just a formality. If they have you sign a paper that says that the dog has a specific problem, pay very close attention to that, because very clearly, like, they're doing that for a reason. And even if they tell you that it's not bad, just be aware. It's all about education in my experience, like, at least so that the person knows what they're dealing with before they get the animal. So it's not like, surprise, by the way, she bites hard. So that's my soapbox. And that is the reason that things have gone absolutely haywire. And then my kid was sick, so I literally had no time to myself to film and all that. So we're flying by the seat of our pants. We're doing our best here. It doesn't always work for me, and that's okay. But let's see, what else can I talk about? Nature walks have been amazing. Most everything else has been fine for the most part. Just lots of little struggles, I guess, in life at the moment. I didn't expect his schooling to make as much of a impact as it is at the moment, because things like, he's doing it online, right? So things like taking a test, because it's online, he has to have the room to himself. And if anyone walks into the room when he is taking his test, essentially he auto fails, from what I understand. I don't know if that's just him telling me that just to get me out of the way. But that means that I have to take my kiddo out of the house. So I then have to go to my mom's house. And again, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. And then we're having trouble with World of Warcraft. And I just, man, I want life to go a little bit more smoothly right now. It's driving me a little crazy, and I am struggling. So if I'm a little spotty on the whole like posting thing, I am so sorry. Like, I am truly just doing my best at this point, trying to figure out how things are working right now until, you know, like my house is fixed and things like that. So just bear with me on this one, because I don't have a whole lot of control over much right now. Also, it's okay to have anxieties about certain things. So I was just talking about the World of Warcraft thing. So part of it is my husband wants me to tank for our like team. We have like a 3-stack, and we all want to be DPS. And in a party, there is 3 DPS, a tank, and a healer. And if you are 3 DPS looking for, you know, a tank and a healer, you're gonna be in queue times that are a little bit crazy. And with as little time as my husband has, he is like, this has got to be sped up, or else I have to go on my own and I will just do everything on my own. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But also, trying to pigeonhole me into tanking is just, it's very rough right now. Because I had to switch characters, because I play my Demon Hunter as a DPS and don't really like playing my Demon Hunter as a tank. I'm thinking about trying it as a tank just because she is fairly geared. But the bigger problem is, as a tank in like the Mythic Plus keys and stuff, you are the leader. And I have like massive anxieties anyways, as like even the DPS. I'm like, okay, what are people gonna think about me? Like, how are they gonna tell me how bad I am? Like, but at least with the DPS role, you're not like front stage, and if you screw up, it's not the end of the world. If you screw up as a tank, it literally could be a run killer. One mess up like that is a run killer, and my husband is kind of a perfectionist. So not timing the keys, because by the way, these keys are timed. If you don't know, it's a dungeon. You know, you have to get through the dungeon with a certain percentage of mobs killed along with the bosses, and you are timed from start to finish. And if you don't get it within a certain amount of time, you don't get any points towards your like score, right? So yeah, he's kind of, I don't want to use the word elitist, but he's kind of on the upper end of the skill level, and I am not. I am on the lower end of the skill level, and I will be the first person to say that. Yeah, I'm not the best at the game, but we are so like not connecting on our thoughts and opinions and things like that, because I'm like, well, if things take long, you can like do your studies while we sit in queue, and like it's not a big deal, it's okay. And he's just like, that's not how that works, and it's just like a whole thing. So I am attempting to tank, and it is not going well for my mental. So it's kind of breaking me in ways that I wasn't expecting to be broken specifically. So yeah, that's been a whole entire thing. So yeah, just be gentle with me, please. Because honestly, like, I just don't have the mental capacity to deal with a lot of like negative comments or anything. So just try and be kind, if at all possible. And yeah, I'm human. I make mistakes. I know the dog thing was my mistake, to a point, obviously. So I'm well aware that I had a hand in that by rushing things and all of that. But it is what it is, and it happened, and it's fine. So outside of that, I'm like, am I even doing it? Like, we've been grinding World of Warcraft, and I'm honestly kind of over it. So I'm trying to get everybody back, like, on board to play like other things and do other things right now, and it's just not going well for me. So gonna try and play some more Phasmophobia, which I used to love the game, and then they've changed so much of it, but it's back to a point where you don't feel like, because for a while there you couldn't hide. Sorry, I'm messing with my necklace. You couldn't hide from the ghost. It always found you, like, and you just couldn't do anything about it. Like, if it started hunting, you were dead. Someone was dead. And so they've got it to a point where you can maybe not like outrun it, but you can run and hide, and sometimes it won't get you, which is nice. So it's at least playable, I guess is what I'm saying. Why is that? There's one that doesn't want to, there we go. But that's a super fun game. If you need like a cute little horror game that, you know, you're like ghost hunters trying to, I ripped a gem off. But you're ghost hunters trying to figure out what kind of ghost is in the house, and you have to get like 3 or 4 signs. So like freezing temperatures, writing in a ghost grimoire, and then, you know, like they have different things, like some ghosts will throw like multiple objects, or if it's twins, which we had a twins last night, they will be in multiple rooms at the same time. So like we had one in a room coming after me, and then another one down the hall going after one of my friends. So that's been really fun. I'm hoping to maybe start some like Resident Evil, since it's like getting close to spooky times, and I adore spooky games, especially when I'm not playing them. So hoping to get into some more normal games and not just the World of Warcraft. Didn't think I'd complain about that, but here we are. And then reading, my brother is hounding me on the, what is it, Words of Radiance? I think it's Words of Radiance. I'm looking. Yeah, Words of Radiance. It's book 2 of the Way of Kings, I believe. I'm also listening to the X-Hex, and currently reading The Reckoning Part 2, which is a Zodiac Academy book. And I am on The Reckoning Part 2, which I think is the 3rd or 4th book, Part 2 of that book. So they're like making these things, or like getting these things in slowly. And so I'm kind of having to trickle the Zodiac Academy books, and I just want to have them and read them and just finish it, because honestly it's kind of an addicting series. And fair warning on that one, this is a bully to lovers romance, so there are lots of triggers in that one. Lots of triggers. So just, you'll have to look up which ones they are. But if you are thinking about reading that one and you have, oh my gosh, that gem is not coming off. And you have like trigger issues, please be kind to yourself and look into exactly what those triggers are, so that you are well aware and well informed on what is in the contents of the book. And it is a struggle to get through like the first book, especially because they are not nice. Again, it's bully to lover romance. So there's that. The X-Hex is really cute. C from the Sea of Diamonds, I love her, got into it and said it was a really cute book. So of course I had to immediately jump on there and try and find it, and I did. And it's cute so far. Haven't gotten super far into it. I think I'm 29% into it. And it's just what do you call it when it's nowadays? Like it's a set in our time kind of thing. So it's that kind of romance, and it's got a little bit of magic and all that because witches. So this is like the perfect time of year for it. I'm waiting for the new Nora Roberts book, The Mirror. Originally was the first one. The second one was, or no, the one we're waiting for I think is called The Seven Rings. And I'm definitely waiting for that series to get its audiobook, because I don't read anything. Everything is audiobook. Because I don't have the time to sit and read and diamond paint. I don't have it. So there's that. So yeah, I think as far as everything goes, like, I think that's all I have to say on the matter. Whether I am on time or not, I'm gonna have to end it here. I don't want to have too much going and then not be able to edit any of it. So 15 minutes is not too bad. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I super appreciate you. I hope that was enough of an explanation as to what's been happening the last few weeks and why I've been kind of Mia. I hope things start calming down so I can get back on schedule and really like get back into a routine, but this is the best I've got for now. So I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a rosy day.